It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. Off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Ingo torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, my ego don't come, my people make we shout, my ego don't come, my ego don't come, man of the masses, my ego don't come, political, this one not the off in mind. And in the touchlight every corner. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you ladder. My ego don't come. My people make we shout. My ego don't come. My ego don't come, man of the masses. My ego don't come. Political, my ego don't come. This one not the off in mind. My ego don't come. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my ego, that man do they talk. He do they talk. Say my ego diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk, but thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you laugh, my ego don't come, my people make you shout, my ego don't come, my ego don't come, man of the masses.
Hello there. Thank you so much for joining me again. Please read the caption of the broadcast, the description, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them that we are back. They want the power back by all means, and the bombs have started going off. Pay attention. There were two suicide bombers in Borno State today at a wedding. 6 people have been confirmed killed, and those who were mourning those killed, trying to grab the bodies of the victims of the bomb blast, the suicide bombing, right? Another bomb just went off again. It has also come to light, and yes, that whose illegitimate regime has been operating 4 different budgets as we speak.
And yes, right. And yes, right. And yes,
On your screen is APC, Egbekebe's official musician from northern Nigeria. They call him Parara or something, right? Now it's been reported that his mother, this woman on your screen, has been kidnapped, and the guy just released a statement.
and yes,
Thank you very much, Motude. So good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are joining us tonight, depending on the time. It is Mayegun Live. While we were preparing to come on this program tonight, I've prepared what I was going to be talking about. Then there was a breaking news. A suicide bomber, a lady, should I say a girl, from those who survived the bomb blast. They said there was a wedding taking place. Then this young girl with a child strapped to her back walked straight into the middle of the ceremony, and then boom. While they were still in that pandemonium, what just happened, another bomb went off again. So it has now been reported that two suicide bombers detonated or killed themselves and others by detonating suicide vests. Does that tell you anything at all? Now, I am having this feeling that for the past 8 years, we have watched the criminals from northern Nigeria defended the rights of terrorists. We have seen them pushed laws or legislations in order to change Nigerian law to protect terrorists in Nigeria. Now, outside the law, majority of them have been protecting and providing for the terrorists in northern Nigeria. Because somehow, I don't know, I think it is one of the tools, the political tools that was deployed in 2014 when the Boko Haram were being defended by APC. Egbekegbe, the northern criminals said Boko Haram, they were just their misguided brothers. Instead of the Nigerian army to crush them, well, Nigerian army should work to rehabilitate them. They said Goodluck Ebere Jonathan was using the Boko Haram to reduce the population of the north. But the moment they gained power, the terrorists bombing everywhere, including Abuja, they just moved to the suburbs. And for 8 years, right, they were allowed to run and rule their own territories in northern Nigeria by the Nigerian government's gazettes. Areas ceded to the terrorists, especially in the last 8 years, by APC, Egbekegbe Al-Qaeda People's Congress. They call those places ungoverned areas. So which means for 8 years, they bombarded us on how we should, in fact, don't be terrorphobia. What that simply mean was that if you have any complaint or you are complaining about this terrorist and them being pampered, that means you are terrorphobia. You have phobia for terrorists. And in Nigeria, that could be a crime. Indeed, under Boko Haram, a lot of people were locked up for not only speaking up against the terrorism that has become the state-sponsored terrorism of APC, they used it in chasing a southern president away. It was the biggest propaganda as well as a heist in the history of Nigeria. It succeeded. They unleashed terror on Nigerians. They unleashed terror on their own people for power. Then they cried to America. Obama and his wife, the entire Democrat Party in America, they weighed in. Nigeria needed a change. And Nigeria was handed over by crook and hook to terrorists. Here we are today. The economy is in the gutters. A year after leaving that same power, they are beginning to regroup. And it seems they are going to probably activate one of their most active and most potent political tool, political jihad. More people are poorer in northern Nigeria after 8 years of a Fulani northerner, Boko Haram, ruining Nigeria and destroying Nigeria, no doubt. But a year after all of that threat, especially the bullying of the rest of Nigeria to accept terrorists as part of Nigeria, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. The boldness, the confidence. I mean, come on. They left their people desolate, destroyed. They left their own economy. In northern Nigeria, complete collapse and comatose. Poverty became, well, how would you tell the difference? More people are now in the IDP camps. IDP camps are refugee camps in their own countries. Nigeria is not at war, but more than 10 million Nigerians are living outside their ancestral land. They are living in makeshift refugee camps, running away from terrorists. These are people who have become the victims that nobody really cares about. Right? And there are so many things behind this that we have come to know. Initially, we thought, oh, it was just these Islamic fanatics. They want to turn all of us to Muslim. They want to turn Nigeria to Islamic country. No, 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 no. Far, 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 far from it. We have now, I mean, come on, 10 years of terrorism sponsored by APC, against Nigeria. We've finally come around to know the sponsor of terrorism. They are the APC, highly protected. Evidence is out there. Conflicts for jihad. The terror unleashed on southern Kaduna. The rest of the terror they unleashed on the rest of Nigeria. So rather than expose the sponsor of terror, they became more protected. All those 8 years, they actually did everything to make us feel like it is not that bad. Stop all this exaggeration. And I won't lie to you, they succeeded to some extent. Before APC, whenever you hear that one person is killed or kidnapped by the Boko Haram terrorist, the reaction is always the same, like, shock. How could that happen? How is this even possible in Nigeria? Where is the Nigerian army? So many conspiracies were cooked. And the conclusion was, good luck, Egbere Jolantan was not competent to keep Nigerians safe. It worked well, right? That Barack Obama, as the president of America, using all the instruments of American government, sent his own campaign manager to go and help and become what they call the consultant for APC. America knows the sponsor of terrorism in Nigeria. But somehow, They were more comfortable with this terrorist, this terror group. And it worked. They must have seen that to save Nigeria, good luck, Egbere Jolanta, a southerner must go. Then immediately these criminals came to power. Omo, they started criminalizing reacting to terrorism in Nigeria. Don't talk like that. Let us just try and support the government. Instead of all of us to come around and support government, we are all here condemning. And all of Omo, they started trying to make us get used to the news of school children being kidnapped. They started making us get used to train being hijacked. You know, a major highway being abandoned for terrorists. Like, people couldn't react the way they used to react anymore. This guy was supposed to come and end this terrorism, end corruption, but he actually took them deeper into it by legitimizing it. It can't become a crime for you to criticize Boko Haram because of Boko Haram. To make it worse, they introduced a new flex into it. Fulani terrorists. Right? So once you begin to talk about these terrorists, they will say that because say you hate the North. Northern Nigeria that stoned a sitting president because of insecurity in Bauchi, they started organizing mass prayers. Prayers. They are offering prayers to help Boko Haram. I mean, the joke was so much that people were dying. And everyone just kind of pretend to just move on. Like, it's not today now. Well, let us just pray for them, kind of. And today, the terrorists, they are back with the bomb. And this time around, it is just to remind all of you that the terrorists are regrouping. You know them, and they have got away with a lot. Simply because Nigeria is a crime scene. Criminals who survive in that contraption. You just need to kind of know which of the criminal group you belong to. Now listen to this new guy who is now like the spokesperson for Tinubu, and that is your guy, Shehu Sani, not your guy though, right? So right now he's on the side of Olu, but there is an engagement between him and Werewike. I shared with you that of Werewike the last time. Let's go back and check out the real one. What did he say that prompted Werewike's reaction? Right?
Thank you for the honor of this invitation to give my own little contribution. But I will use this opportunity to tell a little story. In 1995, a team of soldiers, policemen, and DSS visited my house in Kaduna. It was a journey that began and lasted for 4 years. I was picked up from Kaduna and brought to Lagos together with the late General Shehu Musa Yar'Adua. From the airport, we were led to the DSS headquarters. There we met President Olusegun Obasanjo. Unfairly for the soldiers, they handcuffed me and did not handcuff Obasanjo or Shehu Musa Yar'Adua. And Obasanjo looked at me and said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Shehu Musa. Did you steal something? They are handcuffing you." I said, "I'm an activist." I was then the deputy chairman of Campaign for Democracy. We were taken straight to Kirikiri Maximum Prison. We stayed there without anybody saying anything to us. When we arrived at Kirikiri Prison, we were given our blankets and a plate of food. Obasanjo asked, what is this for? They say, it's what you're going to use to cover yourself from mosquito, and this is the plate for you to eat. We were then moved from that to and allocated ourselves. When the armed robbers there saw Obasanjo, they started shouting, insulting, and naturally, for those of us that are human rights activists, we were popular with inmates. And then I said, okay, you are a commander outside, this is where I also command. And now I have to talk to the inmates to calm down. No matter the grievances you have about Obasanjo, he is now an inmate. After we were kept in prison, we were then transported from the prison straight to a military tribunal. From the south, you'll be sent to another prison. That is how I found myself in Port Harcourt prison, which I've never even been to Port Harcourt at that time. So straight to Port Harcourt prison. I was in Port Harcourt prison when Kensaro was brought in and hanged. I can see them from the window. While I was in Port Harcourt prison, I wrote a letter to Nigerians. It was published. I was then removed from Port Harcourt prison, taken to Aba prison in Abia State. Kirikiri, Port Harcourt, Aba, Abia State. We stayed there until we had the news Abacha died and freedom came. After 4 years in prison. When we came out from prison, this is where my story is going to begin. Abdul Salam Abubakar invited all of us who fought for democracy that I am going to hand over power to a democratically elected government, and I want all of you, the freedom fighters, to come together and take over power. At that very time, Gani opposed it. 3 times he was inviting us. We even refused to answer his call. And he invited the politicians. He didn't even invite them. They were knocking at his door. After we decided to listen to him, we came and sat down. What do? We are just coming out of it. That is what the ANC in South Africa did. After the struggle, they took over political power. But after our struggle in 99, 98, 99, we made a fundamental mistake and said, we are not going to cooperate with the military. Michael Zokome is sitting here, is one of those who oppose that we should not join. Gani opposed, Falana opposed, Olisa Obakoba, all opposed. It was Tinubu who said, if we don't get in, who is going to be there?
Sorry, distinguished, they are shutting down the camera. So.
Yes. Yeah. Then, by the time we all agreed to join the politics, politicians have taken over all positions. Michael Zokome tried to be governor of Edo State, he couldn't. Olisa tried to be president, he couldn't. Gani tried to be president, he couldn't. Falana tried to be governor of the state, he couldn't. I tried to be governor of Kaduna State. I couldn't because the space were all taken over.
So after all of that, Shehu Sani somehow now is a spokesperson for Tinubu. I think he's got an attention, and according to him, it's because they all struggled for democracy. This is him today.
So what do you think the security challenges will be over in the whole country because it's better than the one you have during Wale. What do you think? There are every evidence that many of the top terrorists have been eliminated. And if you compare what we are having today to what we have had yesterday, is still the best. Under Buhari administration, you have had attack in school, Greenfield University, Kaduna, Bethel Baptist High School, Kaduna, Government Science College, Kaduna, Federal Government Girls College, Yahuri, Federal School of Agriculture, Mechanization, Mando, Government Secondary School, Kankara, Government Secondary School, Jengibe. We have had attack on schools in all parts of the country. So, we are.
So according to him, right, the Nigerian security has improved a lot under Tinubu than that of Buhari. See? And some of you will just be like, and some people will hear that be like, oh, on what data, based on what data are you saying that? Say, oh yeah, you remember that they kidnapped school children in Kankara? They kidnap school children in this place or that place and all that. But now they haven't kidnapped school children yet. Are you joking? Are you mad or something? Right? That's gonna be my own reaction, right? Like, are you mad or something? Well, anyway, that's how you're gonna look at it and be like, oh yeah, they have not kidnapped as many people as they kidnapped under Buhari. Okay. Right. Nigeria's security has improved. Then it must have improved. I don't think he's finished that statement before the bomb went off. Now, what you are witnessing is just the typical politicians. All right. And what you have to do is when the push comes to shove, as they say, right? So you would have to kind of find a side. So I'm not going to really take Shew's name that much serious, but this was with the weakest response to him. I think you've heard it.
Please, we're all taking over.
Yes, we have made this progress, but there's still room for us to move forward. Just like Shehu Sani said, how they were about to have they were detained. Can he say under this democracy, any Nigerian has found himself in another state? That's a progress. You see, we should not every time give the impression as if we have not made any progress as a country. You have said here our infrastructure, FCT. You have said here FCT. Who is FCT minister working on? Who? Mr. President, which means he has the capacity to do those who can help him move the country forward. That is progress. Mr. President knows that there's a problem. And that's why he said he need hope agenda. Why did he say he need hope agenda? He knows that Nigerians have lost hope. And therefore, there are things that we must work hard to bring back that hope to Nigeria. So it is not as if, Mr. President, don't sit down, let people not deceive you that Nigerians are suffering. Who does not know that Nigerians are suffering? That is going to be a story. And we should not we should distinguish between theory and real practice. We like to come to the public and begin to compare what Nigerians like. We like to clap hands. Mr. President has been making a lot of effort. And you know where we are coming from. We don't expect, within a short time, the economy that was down, everything was this country was broken. And then you expect, within a short time, everything will be corrected. That is not correct. Thank you for saying that we're going to Abuja. Which means if Abuja can be well, it's going to happen to be well. Sure. Yes. So I thought I should try to do this and to say my brother friend. And that the mere fact that you were active does not mean that you will do well. No. That is not allowed to the regular. No. Activists have always failed. Activists have failed. We have seen activists that were given appointment, and yet they failed. When you were Senate, how did we perform? what was our performance as senators? And you have said about rigging elections as an activist, how many times have you rejected Bush? Those who have rigged the election, you are not defending it.
I mean, yeah. I know some of you have heard that before now, right? So Tinubu put together the people that will help him to move Nigeria forward. No, sorry, that's not how he says it. It's like Tinubu has put together people that will help him to move Nigeria forward. I think. Is that how? It doesn't matter. In January 2023, Bukwari signed the 2023 budget into law, a 21.8 trillion naira budget. That was January last year. And according to them, they expected that to run for a full financial year, January to December. Then Tinubu took over in May. And by July, Tinubu was already asking for a supplementary budget of 2.17 trillion naira. That is to take the 2023 budget to over 23 trillion naira. That was his first request. Then they now requested, sometimes in November, December, when the 2023 budget was supposed to be rounding up, and then preparation for the 2024 budget to be submitted and passed and, signed in January 2024. Tinubu's economic advisors, right? They now requested for an extension of the 2023 budget to June 2024. I don't know if you know that. Normally, when you sign a budget into law, by the closing year, before the 31st of December, all ministries, parastatals, departments, all of them would have to return all of the money left in their accounts back to the national, what do you call that thing again? Your national treasury. Because the following year, they're going to be disbursing another set of money. So you're going to be writing your budget to say, oh, next year, what we couldn't do this year, we want to do them this or that, blah, blah, blah. And then once the budget is passed and the fund is released, you begin to implement or execute whatever plan you have, right? But since Tinubu came in their own abracadabra voodoo economy, they decided to have an extension for 2023. Also, they submitted the budget for 2024, the 27 trillion naira budget for 2024. While 2023 budget was still active. Then remember, the 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget was for 6 months too. That one was still active as well. Now they have two budgets active, 2023 to 2024. No closure, no nothing. Looting galore, no account, what do you call it, auditing, whatever, nothing. Just carry on. But they wrote a new budget that was submitted in December. And Kolu signed that in January, I think. Is it January or February? January. So that was like they now have another active budget, which carries most of what is in 2023 budget as well. So 2024 with some add-on and padding. Now, they have 3 budgets running, Abi. Kolu has now sent in a supplementary request, a supplementary budget that he also need an extra 3-point-something trillion naira. On what? Oh, some new stuff we think we should do. And they want that to be passed. Meanwhile, 2024 budget, they just reached 6 months. Second quarter of 2024 budget. 2023 budget has been running since January up till now. They came out, they denied it. But as usual now, they believe that we've denied it, just forget it. So budget did something on that, and they decided to make this public. Okay. So they said, recall that the 2023 approved budget of 21.8 trillion signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari in January 2023 was designed to run for 12 calendar months from January to December, as is the practice globally. In addition, while 2024 appropriation bill was being drafted, the 2023 supplementary budget of 2.17 trillion was passed by the National Assembly and assented to by President Tinubu barely 2 months before the end of 2023 fiscal year. For a brief period, Nigeria returned to the January-December budget calendar in 2019, but retrogressed from 2020 fiscal year. Like that, that story, Sharia, because I don't want that to take much of our time. I kind of have summarized it though, right? So what it is now is, Tinubu and his gang, they came out and said, no, it's a lie. We are not operating an extra, blah, 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 and that's it. That's it. But they are. So what you have in Nigeria right now is a free-for-all. Fiscal rascality, it is called. It is a place where anybody can do whatever they like. Yeah, do whatever you like, John. Don't stress yourself. Just do as you like. Do anyhow. You are likely never going to be held responsible. Ever. I don't know if there are economists in here to probably pop in later in the evening to tell us more. The implication of this. In Lagos, what they did successfully was to ensure that the finances of Lagos State is never made public. There is no amount of freedom of information requests that you will send to them that will allow them to open their book. They will give you summary. Oh, Ministry of Agriculture, Lagos State, 16 billion. Who are those who are going to take that 16 billion? That 16 billion for what? You will never know. Oh, how much is Lagos State generating per se? Ask Alphabeta. Oh, Alphabeta, how much are you really generating and how much are you taking? We're generating 400 billion. And we know that by 2020 or 2025, we are going to be generating 1 trillion for Lagos. That's all. Where is that money you will be generating? Where would they be coming from? And what are those taxpayers getting in return? Nothing. You're asking too much questions. Can't you see the road? Can't you see the bridge? Can't you see the trains? Can't you see that they are paying workers 70,000 naira? Say, okay. How many workers are you paying 70,000 naira? How much are you really paying your workers, let's say, from your wage bill? How much is that? Oh, it is 40 billion. How did you arrive at that? Can't you see that Lagos is the biggest and the guinea cock in Nigeria? This is how they live. That's how they are going to run Nigeria. You are going to live off speculation, assumptions, but the real document, except when they get leaked to the public, they will never make them public. They are wrecking Nigeria as we speak. When you discover or you find out, I promise you it will be too late. Like, it will be too late. Bombers everywhere in the north. Was it not that same Kano where they celebrated the repentant thugs, pickpockets, potential terrorists? Now we have the bombers on the loose. Suicide bombers are back.
The 222 thugs, popularly known as Endaba in Kano State, are here to embrace the amnesty initiative introduced by the Nigeria Police Force in the state. About 3 months ago, the Kano State Police Command invited some identified individuals believed to be behind the escalation of thuggery and other heinous crimes in the state for dialogue. The meeting yielded a positive response as some of the thugs embraced the initiative. Among the 222 repentant thugs, 50 of them drawn from Dala, Fege, Ungugu, Kano Municipal, and Gwale local government area of the state, having completed a 2-month intake training as members of the Nigerian Police Special Constabulary, were decorated. They pledged to promote peace in the state and promised not to go back into thuggery.
I am among the 50 people who were trained and absorbed into the Nigerian police force, and I am prepared to play my part to ensure that Kano is peaceful. We will go around the state and continue to preach peace to the people so as to keep the state safe.
While welcoming the repentant thugs into the society, the Commissioner of Police, CP Mohammed Gumel, debunked reports making round that the police is recruiting thugs as its personnel. He says the amnesty initiative is only aimed at sustaining peace in the state.
As of today, the police command has received a total of 222 influential youth and are committed to crime prevention duties with the police to fish out violent criminals among them, notorious thugs popularly known as Ndaba, who over the years engaged in supremacy conflict, Padandaba as we call it.
The governor of the state, Abba Yusuf, who gave a rousing welcome to the repentant thugs, urged them to be good ambassadors of the state.
From the day they surrendered, they have been subjected to series of reformatory process. They have undergone lectures from psychologists and other experts in human behaviorism. And by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are going to give them all the necessary encouragement.
But the move has generated uproar online as some of the repentant thugs, who is said to be a notorious criminal, recently declared wanted by the police. Nasir Abdullahi, popularly known as Chile Midoki, is among the new recruits. Some critics kicked against his inclusion and denounced the entire amnesty program. But while defending the move by Kano State, the police force spokesman, Muiwa Adejobi, said, and I quote, "They are not policemen, I was told, and it has been in the news that they are repentant individuals who have been mobilized into the constabulary scheme of Kano State. The constabulary scheme is not police, but a community-based initiative. With the integration of these 222 repentant thugs into the society, residents of Kano hoped that the amnesty program will address the incessant crimes in the state." Ayo.
Anarchy loans. Anarchy loans.
Don't forget. And some of them have been probably shipped out of, Kano and all that. Nigeria, Nigerian security and Nigerian government, they bragged, especially under Bukwari, they bragged about rehabilitating over 200,000 repentant terrorists. Let me tell you something about that, right? In northern Nigeria, these Islamic jihadists not only just kill people, they kidnap children, right? They sell some of them off as sex slaves. They collect money or guns by just exchanging them for weapons. But others, especially young girls, they keep them for their own pleasure. They rape them and rape them and rape them until they put many of them in family ways. I'm talking about children as young as 13 years, 14 years. Now, you see, these atrocities is called atonement, sort of. Because once the Islamic terrorist capture any woman or girl, right? She automatically becomes his property, that he can do whatever he likes with her. Now, if he chooses to begin to rape her, it is considered as cleansing her, atonement, and saving her. It is like an honor. These terrorists kidnapped thousands of children, not just school children, children just from different communities in northern Nigeria, unaccounted for. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years later, these children, these little kids, they are now mothers. I'm talking about some of them with as many as 5 children for terrorists. So under Boko Haram, the terrorists were bringing in, they said that they were hungry, so they started coming out of the forest with all of these abused children who are now young women, damaged. And guess what Nigerian government did? They didn't call them terrorists. They didn't call those young women victims of terrorism and rape. They called them families. They said repentant terrorists and their families and their wives and children. So there's no crime committed, so to say. So under Boko Haram, amnesty is there. Take it. And you could get something. Majority of them were also used to swindle Nigeria. Because if I ask some of you right now, do you have a clue how much Boko Haram and then Buratai the Butcher, how much they spent on rehabilitating thousands of the Boko Haram terrorists and their victims? You have no clue because nobody knows. At a point, some of them had to protest. Some of those repentant terrorists, they protested. They said they were suffering even more. And the camps where they kept them, and they've separated them with, from their wives. That is like, they protested, man. Terrorists protested in Nigeria that they were not giving them what they promised them. You know? But we are back. We are back to that era. Okay? And talking about era. Here is their governor, though. The governor that opened a constabulary with the Nigerian police in Kano, that they put Nigerian police uniform on thugs because they repented. Now they needed them to maintain peace. Nigeria at the time, right? But here is him at their last meeting in Abuja. Don't mind all the junks he's saying. Okay, I just wanted to be here while talking about Kano.
As you are aware, today the National Economic Council sat for the 142nd council meeting, where a lot of issues were discussed and resolutions made. Part of today's resolution centered on the nomination of board members for the Niger Delta Power Holdings Company. Niger Delta Power Holdings Company has been operating for quite a long time without the supervisory board. Today, the council deliberated, and after exhaustive discussions, council has finally approved the nomination of the following as members of the board of Niger Delta Power Holding Companies. This nomination cuts across the 6 geopolitical zones of this country. Council nominated the governor of Borno State to represent the Northeast, the governor of Katsina State to represent the Northwest, of course the governor of Imo State to represent the Southeast, Ekiti State governor to represent the Southwest, Kwara State governor, who coincidentally the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, is to represent the North Central. The governor of Akwa Ibom State is equally going to represent the South-South geopolitical zone. Let me.
He kept reading it, but don't worry. Let me save you some time, okay? So that's the Kano governor announcing that they had their NEC meeting in Abuja, and to constitute the committee for Niger Delta Power Holding. Niger Delta Power Holding, so they will need all the governors from all other regions to be member of the committee for Niger Delta Power Holding, Nigeria Limited. Waiting concern Kano, waiting concern Northeast. Do you know that as you have NDDC, the Niger Delta Development Commission, they've created, Bukwari created Northeast Commission, sorry, Northeast Development Commission, NEDC. And I bet you, some of you have no idea how much money goes into these two, do you? Right, for the terrorists in northern Nigeria to be rehabilitated and the victims of terrorism, villages destroyed and all of that, NEDC was supposed to be rebuilding homes for people. Hundreds of billions of Nigerian naira has gone into the private pocket of those appointed to man those to man that kind of a committee. All of them, while the victims of terrorism continue to languish at different IDP camps across the north. Fortunate, right? I'll leave it at that, and then we can quickly. I think we should take a stop in Kenya. Okay, it's just going to be an update. All right, there's this Gen Z senator who, before everything got so blown up, was there, and she made an impressive presentation on the crisis that has enveloped Kenya. And I want to share that with you. I've got clips from some of them beating up some of their MPs as we speak. Their vice president says, don't recall all your MPs. Okay? Don't ask us to resign. Wait till 2027 and vote us out. Is that playing? Someone asked. The brilliant lady here, she called us a Gen Z too. Please listen. It's a long watch.
Because of disrespect, but because of respect for the young men and women who have lost lives, who are now muted because they cannot speak due to yesterday's horrifying scenes. We can't go home. Are we trying to say that renovations of windows and offices are more important than speaking for bloodshed and lives lost yesterday? We cannot, Mr. Speaker. And I, as a young person, as the first young person speaking to this motion, as a youth in this house, I am speaking for the youth who are outside of this house. We cannot go on a recess. It is wrong, and it would be completely insensitive to do so. Mr. Speaker, darkness fears democracy. I rarely wake up in the morning wishing for my eyesight to be restored, but what a sight to be able to behold. This last week had me aching with desire to see my fellow youth in the most spectacular display of patriotism, camaraderie, and putting up a first-rate masterclass on demanding that governments be held to account for the entire world to see. And yes, they have seen. But unity, Mr. Speaker, has been violently gunned down in the streets, not by men, but by monsters who have no concern for human life. Although this government has demonstrated that lifeless Kenyan bodies are not to take precedence over their punitive finance bill, young Kenyans have looked their oppressor dead in the eye and shown them that when it comes down to the wire, there are only two times to be brave: when you feel like it and when you don't. My profound disappointment with the current government and its forceful assault on crowds of innocent youth, Speaker, by its nefarious police officers who have gone rogue on unarmed young citizens peacefully exercising their constitutional right towards an uncaring, a corrupt, and wasteful government in their eyes that has turned its back on them, cannot be emphasized enough, Speaker. The brute force used against young, unarmed protesters reveals the operating system built into the fabric of today's government. And when they kill us, Speaker, they're killing themselves. The arrogance from some of these top government officials has been outrageously condescending to young people, disgusting and reminiscent of narcissistic abuse. You call us wankers and clueless children of plunderers. Then you say you're proud of us for making our voices heard peacefully. Then abduct defenseless children using state machinery and escalate a peaceful demonstration of young people with phones, twigs, and water bottles in their hands into barbaric scenes of bloodshed. Young people, Mr. Speaker, were not out to kill. In fact, I was here on this premises yesterday when everything set off. And whilst I was separated from my security guard, Mr. Speaker, I also saw another member of parliament from the National Assembly who is a wheelchair user, who voted yes to the finance bill, also having been separated from his team and his aides and bodyguard. He was stranded, Mr. Speaker, couldn't run, couldn't hide in his wheelchair. And you know what happened when those kids entered this premises? 3 young boys saw this member of parliament who voted yes for the finance bill, and instead of reprimanding him, instead of reading him their minds, giving them a piece of their minds, you know what they did? They actually carried this member of parliament in his wheelchair to the tunnel so that he can go and seek refuge across in Bunge Towers. And then the 3 boys ran back and joined their fellow comrades. That's what happened. These kids don't operate in mendacity, Mr. Speaker. They are moral youth who are just trying to get their voices heard. So this peddling of a message or narrative that these youth are evil, they are killers and criminals, they're not. That is completely misguided and untrue. Why don't these policemen punch in their own weight class, Mr. Speaker? That's my question. I've been asking myself, would they come into parliament and try and abduct or take on Aledama or Lekina? Would they be able to have the balls to come and abduct and violate the safety of Samson Cherargei? They wouldn't, Speaker, because they know that all they're doing is showing a brute force, using their shields and using their armor and using their artillery, pouring it on young defenseless Kenyans. And you know, clinical psychologists will tell you that narcissists will first love bomb you, then they'll manipulate you, then they'll gaslight you into believing their lies, then they devalue you, and finally, Speaker, they discard you once they have what they want. We young people have seen every single stage of these narcissistic behaviors in this government. And since they complained that over 8 million of us did not come out to have our voices heard in the 2022 elections, Mr. Speaker, we are here now. And an estimated 25 million came outside in every corner of the country yesterday to say that we reject this finance bill because we would rather die on our feet than live on our knees. We are not the generation who are silenced with every carrot dangled in front of them, Mr. Speaker. We are the generation that asks questions and demands accountability because we understand that we are rich, and only if the money that we refuse tastes better than the money that we accept. Gone are the days, Speaker, when governments can rely on using methods to numb their people through controlling the media, through controlling education, and controlling the church, which used to be houses of God and now have turned into dens of thieves. So, Mr. Speaker, we're saying as young people, go ahead, push that narrative all you want about our international financier. That's a scapegoat, because you won't find one. Unity is our financier. Liberation, passion, justice, anger, disillusionment, and dissatisfaction are all our financiers. This is the reason why I oppose going on recess, Mr. Speaker, especially at such a sensitive time in our country. Mr. Speaker, this finance bill is without a doubt designed to be esoteric. I believe that it's relied upon for citizens not to understand this document in full. The Prime Cabinet Secretary said a few days back, if the Finance Bill 2024 fails to pass, the implications are serious. It could result in a complete shutdown of the government and signal a vote of no confidence from the public. These and many statements, Mr. Speaker, are being peddled by government officials, and none of them are true. They tell the public how ominous the failure of the passing of the bill will be, but that's not true. Yet, Mr. Speaker, if the bill were to pass without the consent of the people, it will split the entire nation, and that's not what we want to see. Mr. Speaker, the President still has an opportunity to not put pen to paper. The Constitution clearly says that he has 14 days to assent to any bill that comes from Parliament, and he can still, right now, today, in this moment, decide not to sign this bill into ascension. Mr. Speaker, I just want to conclude so I can give other members a moment to also contribute, but to just say that young people are tired. Young people are exhausted. They don't have jobs. How would they have money to look for artillery and knives and guns? But still, we poured every single piece of armor on these young children yesterday, Mr. Speaker. And as a young person myself, I am disgusted, I am appalled, I am completely beside myself. And I want to conclude by saying that my heart goes out to the families and loved ones who have lost people yesterday. Mr. Speaker, I was disappointed to hear the President's speech yesterday. I had hoped that more unity would have come from it, but there was no empathy for the pain that Kenya is feeling right now, Mr. Speaker. There was absolutely no sign of benevolence when he spoke, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would have hoped that the President would have come to unify, would have stood in that address and unified the nation, but instead he threatened. Instead he was glassy. Instead he was cold. And Mr. Speaker, I just want to comfort those in closing by saying that even though they cut our wings and tie our feet, still we will rise. Viva, comrades. Because of disrespect.
Viva, comrades. Tell me you are not blown away that a lawmaker in Africa was speaking so clearly, so eloquently, that you could hear every word. She said every word. And none of them is not without wow. And that's in Kenya. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in Nigeria. Like where Akpabiole is, where Abbas is. Come on. Don't talk to the president like that. Hey, order, order. You'll be seeing others walking about. So indeed, Kenya is actually really showing us, right, the other part of Africa that a lot of us didn't know. They are well educated. They know about their laws like anything. They are enraged when they saw how they are about to be played. And rightly so, they were ready to die. They died for that. And as for their politicians, they are independent-minded when they want to be. They speak clearly than the rogues you have in Nigeria. Those rogues with pot bellies who actually overrated themselves so much that they consider themselves doing you a favor. They are like Ruto, insensitive, inconsiderate, condescending, because they have the power. They will do everything to blackmail, to gaslight, to try to change the narrative by criminalizing people who reject any of their forceful policy that kind of will destroy you anyway. They will gaslight you. They will, then they will unload all of their weapons on you. They know you are poor. You have no money to buy the same weapon to fight them. But they said you are threatening them. They feel so threatened that they will bring all the armory out to show force. Show force on people you are trying to, come on. I don't have to add much. Let's leave Kenya. So in Kenya, outside their chamber, their National Assembly, where things happened, right? Many of them can't go back to their constituency anymore. Few of them who went back. Some of them are already wearing T-shirts saying, "We are sorry. I am sorry. I'm so sorry." Like they are wearing shirts and they are uploading the pictures online. Kenyan's lawmakers. So currently, the request is that Ruto must go and the National Assembly must be dissolved. So to those who voted no, they have become heroes now in Kenya. They have become so important. Yeah. But for those ones who voted yes, I have two videos to depict these two scenarios. The first one, he voted no. The second one voted yes. And two different constituencies, how they treated their lawmakers, their MPs. Watch. Did you see that? What are you doing here? Ah! Some of them, they are burning down their properties. They are burning their businesses. Like, that's how angered people are in Kenya, now that they have actually killed people. But in Nigeria, people will take whatever is thrown at them. See my people in Ogun State. Another scenario here in Ogun State. And then there is a woman, very dramatical. Okay, they need to come and fix this road for us. Oh my God.
Eba wo odo gusere o. Eba wo odo ile kun kọjá abẹ́ o. Ẹjọ́ o. Eba wo. Ẹ̀yin ará Mọ́sá, ẹ̀yin ará Boko Haram. Ẹjọ́ o. Ẹ bá fi gbìyànjú sí o. Ẹ̀yin ìjọba wa ẹ jọ̀ọ́ o. Gómìnà Dàpọ̀ ẹ bá jọ̀ọ́ o. Ìjọba ẹ wá wo àwọn ìyá wa bó ṣe ń dákú sílẹ̀ lẹ́ o. Wọn ò lè kọjá mọ́, ọ̀nà ò ṣe é lọ, iwájú ò ṣe é lọ, ẹ̀yìn ò ṣe é padà. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ gbà wá o. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ wá gbà wá níbí báyìí o. Lógùn State ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ gbà wá o. We implore this government, our political leaders, to come to our aid. Honorable Ibrahim Isiaka Ayokunle, Honorable Folawe Fatiu Salami, Senator Shuaib Afolabi Salisu, His Excellency Governor Dapo Abiodun, please come to our aid in Ogun State at Akulus. From Giwa to this place, there's no road. Road will only be Zibaragun. Òun lára àwọn àdìyàn fi ń lọ ibẹ̀ náà ti ń bọ̀. Àwọn ará Giwa, àwọn ará Matogun, àwọn ará Ọ̀ṣẹ̀rẹ̀, ibi náà ń gbà. Kò sọ́nà tó já sí ẹ bá ga jù bí lọ. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ wá bá wa ṣe because ìyà yìí ti pọ̀ jù. Àárọ̀ náà lọ gbogbo mọ́tò ló ti bàjẹ́, gbogbo báìkì ló ti bàjẹ́ tán. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ wá bá wa ṣe o, ẹ wá bá wa ṣe, ẹ ṣe.
Our mothers are crying. There is no road. Help us. All the communities, Ajiro, Ajese, Ajeja, Ajeku, Ajeye. All of them pass this road. We love this government. Senator Bashiru, Honorable Isiaka, come and help. Do you think the senator and the honorable, they don't know to say the road there? Did many of you not campaign for them on the road? Yeah, I'm not worried. They will come and fix it. I believe. Is this 103 Nigerians deported from Turkey today? And they arrived in Abuja. Some said that they've been locked up for over 7 months in Turkey, where they have been maltreated and all of that before they finally got deported. So they arrived safely home.
But they need to give everything. It's okay, it's okay.
Sorry. So the fact that they have arrived there safely, I saw someone there who was like, distraught, and I understand, or maybe I won't understand how it feels. I have an idea. Okay, the reasons why many people who are not really, they are not finding it easy. What they told them, or what they expected to meet going abroad, is not what they met. And they are battling it so much that it is so worse for some. There is no amount of worse it is for them. They just don't want to go back to that Nigeria. They just believe that it was going to be like the place where I left and all of that. Then people who actually get involved in other sort of criminal activities, and they also have to be deported. I have seen people who have who have done crazy things just to avoid being deported to Nigeria. So Oyinbos usually wonder, why are you sad to have a free ride back to your country? It's your country, right? You should be happy to go back there. And then you'll be like, no, I don't want to go back there. That place is worse. I am ready to die in this kind of, than to go back there. Because somehow, our brain tells us that it's always worse back there. And that is why I do feel what people who are being deported feels like. Alaye, deporting you back to Nigeria it's actually not going to be the worst thing to happen to you, in my own opinion, than to be locked in a system that you somehow, right, you are wasting away. Okay. So when I saw that guy crying, another guy, I was like, I don't know what's going on in his head, but I just feel like he's so disappointed in himself. Right? But you could pick yourself up again and just, if you don't want to stay in that contraption, pick yourself up again, dust yourself up again, and get the hell out of the place if you want to. And I've seen others who said they went back and somehow they were able to recover from the shock of being sent back to that contraption. So why are Nigerians so scared of going back to Nigeria? Why is somebody that is not wanted in a country that you reside, why would you be so scared of going back to Nigeria? A lot of reasons, right? Now I have another question. What do you think someone who is a patriotic Nigerian abroad, he has no document, he has no real means of survival, he is neither here nor there, but somehow he is still there praising the criminals in Nigeria. There are many of them in London, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are people who have no means of even going back to Nigeria anymore. The only way they can get to Nigeria again is to be deported back to Nigeria. There are many in London. A lot of you have some of them right here in London or in England as well, in Manchester, all these places scattered there, who are praising the criminals in Nigeria. Majority of them have no plan of going back to Nigeria, and they are stuck here, right? So I wonder, like, what do you think will make somebody who is Sabobaku, a one Nigerian, what will make him or her begin to fight not to want to be deported back to Nigeria, for instance? Like, I'm actually trying to share a true life story with you. True story. Let me say it. Because, sometimes some of these are also meant to be a sort of life lesson, right? Nobody is bad. Nobody is, the good, the bad. If you are a good person with good morals, right? Great. If you are a horrible person, right, with horrible morals, like no moral at all, it's also good. It has its own advantage. Okay. So if you are a very good, clean slate, not so much a criminal, we can use you as a good example when we are talking to people on why it is good to be good. I say, why don't you want to be like that person? That's a very good example of, a gentleman, a great woman and all of that. Then when you see horrible people as well, right? You can also use them and say, the way you are going, you're going to end up like Bokuwari, an horrible human being, right? And then so say, no, me, I don't want to end up like Boko. So you can still use them as a good example, as an example in the long run. So that's how I'm going to use this story as an example. It's this guy, he's an Elegbon like that, okay? So we used to kind of mingle, yeah. And I remember very well when I used to still have that chance of mixing with people, like, attending gatherings and all of that, because they know that I am Mayegun of the Mayegun's Diary Political. Definitely majority of them, when they see me, they want to have a chat around it, like try to tell me that I should reconsider my stand on Nigeria, stuff like that, right? Now, I know this Egbon very well, okay? Is one die-hard Buhari idiot. He's in Nigeria now, right? One die-hard Buhari idiot. He's the type that now Elegbon to kind of like uncle level, like in his late 50s. So this Egbon will tell me or us how Bokwari was wonderful in 1984. How Nigeria would have been a great country if Bokwari was left alone. Then I would be like, Baba, why you they talk like this? Nigeria was bankrupted by Bokwari. Nigerians were practically queuing to buy sugars, rationed. Nigeria economy was like in the tank under Bokwari. Why are you driving this ideology of Bokwari? Nigeria would have been great because Nigerians needed discipline, and Bokwari gave them discipline. People were queuing. People no longer jump queue. People now are like queuing to enter bus. They are queuing to go into shop. They are like, you know, I'm like, is that something that you just kind of feel so great about as a slave? What about the economy? Oh, the corrupt people. The corrupt people were running away from Nigeria because of Boko Haram. It speaks glowingly about Nigeria. Deluded them, motherfuckers, by the way. So then something happened. Ashelegbon himself was practically like, you know, it was an illegal immigrant in the UK. What happened? I actually thought you were like settled. Why would you be so much like in support of horrible people who are sending more Nigerians out of Nigeria? Most of them just are taking any route or whatever it is just to get out of Nigeria, legal and illegal. You are here and you are happy that you've not been to Nigeria for the past 11 years, Egbon. And you support all the rogues, the criminals in that place. So I kind of like, you know me, I just kind of like I cut him off. Practically, like literally, I cut him off. Until we started hearing that Egbon needed help. Egbon was caught. He was drunk. He was caught. Then they discovered that he had no papers and all of that stuff. So he was going to be deported. He had no family. He had no relationship. He had nothing, so to say. So what's going to happen? They say Egbon wants to now, like practically he is now presenting himself to the Home Office as gay. We started looking for who would act like a gay couple for Egbon until they bundled him and sent him back to Nigeria. I was like, in my head, I was like, you are doing all of that because you don't want to go back to Nigeria, Abi? But Nigeria was supposed to be a great country, a beautiful place that Boko Haram was making better. This story was around 2019, 2018, 2019, before Corona. He wants to present himself as gay here. And I know he's not gay. He's not. But because they didn't want to go back to that contraption, he started looking for somebody to act like a gay partner. They started taking pictures. They started going to gay club, taking pictures, to prove that they have been a couple for so long, gay. Yeah? Now, Alaji, we call him Alaji. We call him Alaji. Suddenly, Alaji is gay, yeah. And in Nigeria, they always kill gay. That's what Alaji said, yeah. He said in Nigeria, they kill gay people. Nigeria doesn't like gay. He wanted me as Mayegun. That's how deluded he was. So he wanted me at some point to pick up his case and talk about how the British people are racist. They are racist. They are racist against blacks. He's been trying to regularize himself for so long, but because they are racist against him, that's why they did not give him residency in the UK. That I should use my platform to tell the world how these people are racist against Nigerians. You are a one Nigerianist. I'm talking about somebody who be saying he's so passionate. The ones that will tell you at the end of the day that it is the reason why you are criticizing Boko Haram was because you hated Nigeria, kind of. And to him, he loved Nigeria. Nigeria is a great country. Nigeria is a beautiful place. Nigeria is yen, 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 yen. He will be talking about that in the barber shop. None of it is factual, but they're just based on that indoctrination they have put in the head of people like him. Then it was time for him to. It was time for them to send him back home. He started acting like he's gay. Nigeria kills gay, and a lie. Now, dear Bobrisky Day, enjoy Nigeria. You will be protected. Now you know that there are gay people being killed in Nigeria. But Nigeria was all right. The UK you live in, where they are racist, but they don't kill you as gay. Why did you choose to be gay? Because you want to stay in the UK when you are not. Rob the system. So you have them they are everywhere. They are all over the place. They have no interest in Nigeria. But because they are safely tucked away, and the social media makes many of us anonymous. Then they love Nigeria from abroad. Go back to Nigeria. Once they get to the airport, they'll start crying. Why are you crying? You should be happy to be back in Nigeria. At least if you don't get money to buy ticket to go back to the contraption, the one that you think exposing all the rod that actually sent you away out of Nigeria, sent you away from Nigeria. You go to America, you go to all these places, and getting yourselves involved in everything that will make you actually stay enough to go back to that contraption. But when you have little comforts, you're out there to defend the rogues. And then we have seen some of them too who are like rapists, deported, rapists, thieves, those who have participated in different kind of crimes, like credit card crime, and so many others like that. But because they are safely here, everybody is looking nice. Everybody is, on social media, we are all like great. And then in that regard, you will see some of them who are also criminals, even abroad. Pay attention to some of those who are supporting the APC abroad. If you dig their lives, they are mostly criminals. Yeah, I'm serious. These are people who are comfortable with criminality. Those who are comfortable with corruption, cutting corners. So somehow, they admire the criminals in charge of APC. So from their own base abroad, they defend them. And some of them ended up being arrested and being deported too, but months later. And you will never know. You will never know. I'm saying all of this to you simply because I got a lot of feelings that 103 Nigerians arrested and deported from Turkey, jailed for 6-7 months. Some of them were in prison for 10 months before they finally sent them to Nigeria. You will not be sent to prison if your offense is just because you overstayed your visa or you have no residency, an illegal immigrant. They will send you to deportation camp. When they send you to prison, you must have committed a crime. And indeed, you couldn't really bail out before the deportation date, no doubt. But back to that contraption. Okay? And some of you are probably like the APC sympathizers abroad. If you ended up getting yourself deported for your crime, my advice is just for you to stay there. You will make it inside that contraption. It is a crime scene. It is a crime den. Yeah. But leaving that, right, we can go to Rivers. There's something reported from Rivers. And it is the cholera outbreak. It has killed over 30 people in Lagos. Somehow the media is not really saying much about it anymore. In Rivers State, 13 people have been reportedly killed and many other victims hospitalized. Listen to this AIT report and also was somebody speaking on behalf of the health department or something in Rivers State has to say what they are doing to help their people.
Cholera is an acute diarrhea illness caused by the ingestion of contaminated food or water that has been contaminated with bacteria. It is a severe and rapid progressive disease that can lead to significant dehydration or even death if not treated properly. Following the cholera outbreak in some parts of the country, the Rivers State Commissioner for Health, Adaeze Ore, during an update said Rivers State had recorded about 16 suspected cases of acute watery diarrhea across 3 communities in coastal areas of Andoni local government area, with 2 associated deaths.
The scenario was rapidly resolved and 2 samples tested positive for cholera by screening tool with a rapid diagnostic test kit, not confirmed by culture. So far, there are currently no active cases or any outbreak of cholera or acute watery diarrhea in Rivers State. We have pre-positioned commodities around historical hotspots, built capacity of health personnel, and commenced community health education for safe hygienic practices.
She said adequate measures had been put in place to support patients in case of eventuality.
Surveillance is at an all-high for triggers and suspected cases. The Infectious Disease Treatment Center at the River State University Teaching Hospital, which is marked for upgrade to an infectious disease institute, is ready and able to manage cases. We will remain resolute and proactive to ensure health security for residents of River State without panic or stigma. It is important to remind you that cholera is preventable.
While assuring the people of the state government's commitment to adequately support the response and contain the disease, she advised the residents to practice good hygiene, ensure the safety of drinking water.
So be careful. In Nigeria, don't let it happen to you. Cholera is very dangerous. It is actually very deadly. It can kill you in hours and some in days. And cholera, even the name cholera, in 2024, in Nigeria, is a stigma. It is to show to you how degenerated things have become. But yeah, you know, if it doesn't happen to you though, maybe it is not that bad. Wash your hands as much as possible, as many times as possible. Okay, every time you remember, just wash your hands with clean water, and also make sure that the one you are going to drinking water, is clean. I don't think there's anything wrong if you actually have to prepare your own water. Boil it. Use your kettle. Boil your own water. Save it, and drink it. It is for your own good, though. Or you are in the traffic. Pure water. You grab her. Are you? You grab her. Another one came. Suya. You collect her. You dey munch everything there. And by the time you enter, you get to your bus stop. They say, Mirinda. You collect the Mirinda, you down it. Somehow, you probably feel like that's your feel for the day. But if you are going to kind of add maybe Scotch egg or something, you see all those things you are picking, right? Everywhere. I am not saying that, it's going to kill you right away, but if one of them should have any kind of contamination, I would learn, bini. And I promise you, Baba, strong man, hard man. Oma di jellyfish, ole jasiku, straight up. Tell me right away. So the ideal thing is that they stay clean as much as possible. What did the apple be say? Sheets don't mix with water. And there are people who have consumed either the stuff washed with them or the whole water. Water crisis in Nigeria in 2024 is actually a really, really big problem, though, right? And it's not just a problem. They are pointers to remind you of how failed Nigeria is. And there's no amount of trying to, manage it that will kind of take that away. I don't think so. Please, wash your hands, wash your food properly, watch the water you drink. I say that to my family members, and I'm saying it to you here, the Templars too. Remember. But let's kind of go on to another story. And this time around, it's an important one. It is coming from Peter Obi. Finally, he's actually saying something that a lot of people expected him to have actually weighed in a long time ago. But for some reason, he didn't. Now that he has said something, then it is better we kind of help amplify that too, right? He's talking about the injustice. The injustice that is being meted at Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The man that has been illegally detained, tortured, abused for years now for asking for a referendum, something that is also part of a democratic norm. It got criminalized. People have been killed in their thousands because the political class sees the danger of asking for the referendum of the breakup of Nigeria, what that will have as an overall effect on the rest of the fake contraption called Nigeria. So Nnamdi Kanu became singled out. The Igbos became more profiled. Systemic profiling that is so obvious, right? That there is no institution in Nigeria that has not been compromised to actually go that route. And we are watching that live. This is not even us reading about this type of injustice of, I mean, we've read about a lot of injustices that happened before we were born. A lot of us watching this broadcast today didn't exist before 1967. Some of you existed, maybe as kids, right? I wasn't in existence when that happened. And we have read a lot about what happened. Factual, established, facts, so to say, of what happened. Depends on which of them you have come across. And there has been controversies around what people wanted to believe or not believe. Yeah, that's a vacuum that may never be filled. Those happened before we were born. I am here now. You are here now. And this is us witnessing what it means to be tribally or ethnically profiled, and the entire institution in a country that was supposed to be your country is in tandem with such institutionalized tribalism. A lot of people have kind of raised dust about how they disagreed with the arrangement of the current Nigeria, the structure. They say we're not supposed to be a country. And if we're supposed to be a country, we're not supposed to be this Nigeria. Now, that conversation has been in place for so long, and somebody decided to educate a generation of why they must take it serious now. And then he became the enemy of the state. And we are watching how justice is being trampled upon. And a lot of us, because of our biases, some of us actually feel cool with that. But a lot of us are not cool with it. But we are not also acting, you will say. I mean, if a lot of us are not comfortable with this injustice, how come a lot of us are not out there taking it out on them? Then that comes to maybe some of us actually really wanted him to be locked up that way. But we just couldn't do it. We couldn't find any reason. But since Nigeria is a lawless place, well, maybe Nigeria could keep him. We are watching all of this injustice unfold. And before in the future, they're going to rewrite it. They're going to change the story. And those who are going to claim to be the victor, or those who are going to claim to be the powerful one, the ones who feel so powerful to lock an innocent man up because of his belief, right? They will write the story in 10, 20 years' time. They will present themselves as the lovers of men, lovers of humanity, the respect of rule of law. Those who are they will call themselves Democrats. You will read stories. You will read things about these criminals. But you are living it now. You are witnessing the injustice. And you are just like, wow. How come? We've seen so many people suffer the injustice in Nigeria, by the way. And we have also seen the states let them go. But the only question is, why is the state so afraid of letting Nnamdi Kanu go? Justifying the illegal detention of the man, and they continue adjournment upon adjournment of this is called sham trial. We have witnessed Nigeria disobeyed court orders. We have seen them disobeyed the directive of the court, even on his own rulings on his own fundamental human right, the right to his own faith, worship his own belief, and all that. the right to have access to his family members on a regular visit, as it should be, for psychological balance, right? The right to have access to his own medical doctor for personal assessment. Even the Daura Secret Service at the time that sought the advice of their own doctor to examine Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in their custody, gave a report and said, this guy needs a doctor. This guy needs to be in an hospital. This guy needs a proper medical care. At a point, they told us that his liver was swelling, he's having some internal problem. All of these were medically diagnosed and submitted to the court in Nigeria. None of this was obeyed, respected. All because he's an Igbo man. Lock him up. Nigeria is a very, it's a very dangerous place. We have been indoctrinated subconsciously that if you are tired of Nigeria's problems, of complaining about Nigeria's problems, the thing is that you are entitled or you are expected to know about Nigeria's problems, okay? However, you are not given that grace of mentioning the names of those behind that problems, because they are mostly people from your tribe, from your own ethnic nationality, from your religion, and from all the places, right? So therefore, just talk about Nigeria problems. And if you are looking for who to blame for it, don't waste your energy. Just blame the Igbos. Just say it. All the problems in this country are caused by the Igbos. Man, the Igbos are the problem of this Nigeria. That's how we were raised. We were raised to say that. We were raised to believe that. And when you see an Igbo man or an Igbo woman, automatically you should just feel like, oh, it smells danger. Not danger, it smells trouble. We're psychologically raised to be like that, unfortunately. But somehow we were not really, so many of us were not really raised to even see you as Igbo or as Hausa or as this or that until the politicians decided to weaponize it. They've weaponized it now. And that is why you will see so many of these. There's something that came to my mind, and I won't use that, so I'll use something else. Or I may still use it anyway, but it's sort of harsh if it came out the way it was going to come out earlier, right? But there are so many of us who have now grown so insensitive, right? That somehow if they don't like you, or they don't like your way, they will side with the rogue, the terrorist government in Nigeria to do whatever they like with you. Do whatever they like to you. Kill you, beat you, brutalize you, or even kill you. It's all fair game to them. Law doesn't matter to them. Court doesn't matter to them. It's fair game. And that is why everyone accused of treason in Nigeria by the Nigeria terrorist governments, every one of them has been let go, except Nnamdi Kanu. So if Peter Obi says, he asked, why is he still in prison? It shows the imbalance, the unfairness in the supposed justice system. Criminal justice system in Nigeria, it doesn't exist. It is a tool of persecution. And if you are an Igbo man, yours is going to be extra. It will be. So talking about Obi and their Labour Party crisis too. Well, 2 days ago, some guys staged a protest that Abure must go. Abure and his gangs, who are now part and parcel of La Diota Pampas, as well as Araban Diot. Now, they kind of agreed that the trouble they are facing is actually brought upon them by Obi. They have agreed that. So the best thing is for Obi to just leave them, but he's not leaving them. So some of them still ran to him, or he ran into them at the secretariat of Labour Party in Abuja. This conversation ensued where he's calling for reconciliation, peace, calm in Labour Party. Listen.
There's a times I allow my children to show that they've grown up, and then I call them.
So,
that's what we're doing.
So presently, who is the chairman of the party?
Only INEC knows. You can go to INEC. No, 1 minute. 1 minute. Say what?
There was a report that Abure and Apapa have reconciled to fight you and NLC. What's your take?
No, they reconcile so we can be one family. Families don't fight. If they come and fight me, I'll beg them. Their reconciliation is all about party. Everybody will reconcile. Let my chairman reconcile. We are reconciling.
Respected leader of the party, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
First, let me thank you very much for coming to this level. The issue at hand, which His Excellency knows very well, is that the tenure of Abure and his working committee, NWC, has ended. So effectively by the 10th of June this month. And you know that there can't be any vacuum in the leadership. And we are not here as NLC. NLC happens to be one of the stakeholders and spearheaded the convening of stakeholders meeting through the National Political Committee, Commission of NLC. And it is the stakeholders meeting that resolved that since the tenure of Abure was about to expire, there can't be any vacuum. And they therefore set up a National Transition Committee whose duty is only to do the needful. That is to conduct congresses right from the ward level to local government levels, to state levels, and culminating into national convention that will elect legitimate, transparent leadership of the party to look forward. And this is why we are here. Unfortunately, all entities, all approaches, including inviting Abure and his people to the even stakeholders meeting, where even it was brokered by INEC that Abure signed and NLC signed that when the time comes, come together to conduct an inclusive and expansive convention. Unfortunately, Abure decided to do without NLC, even after having signed an agreement that INEC brokered. That is why we felt that enough must have to be enough. And since nature abhors vacuum, we said we are taking over because we are constituted by the stakeholders meeting, just as was provided in that agreement. And we tried to do it peacefully. In fact, some of our people have been accusing us of being slow. We told them, no, we are not trying to fight. As much as possible, if we can be able to resolve this issue without fight, that is what we want. But from what you have witnessed today, from what we have witnessed today, it appears certainly it is either we find our way forward or we make our way forward. This I assure you. This I assure you. Because we are living in Nigeria, we are Nigerians, and we will not tolerate lawlessness. But if anybody decides that he will be lawless because he has the upper hand of paying whoever to subvert our efforts, I want to assure that we are also capable of doing whatever anybody can do and even more. Your Excellency, I'm not disrespecting you. I know you are a peaceful man. You always want peace. And that is why I say, okay, if you are not here today, we will not be thinking of any coming together to reconcile. We will be thinking of how to go about it the way we think it is better for us to do.
I like this, your conclusion.
Thank you, sir.
Can you see the conclusion? You've done very well. I assure you, every war, every disagreement will be settled in a round table. We are one family. what is happening with us is worse in others. We will reconcile it. Just know that you met me today and I've talked about item number 1, reconciliation. Number 2, reconciliation. Number 3, let us remain focused on the suffering of the poor people of Nigeria. That is what we all desired. What we are doing now cannot affect the price of garri or rice. So we are being distracted by what we are supposed to be doing. We need to remain focused. I hope the press is okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm externally grateful for your involvement because I know you, all of you too, as of my supporters.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's Obi. So it's the Mr. Peacemaker who wants to bring peace to organized thieves. So you think he can handle them, right? The drama will continue, won't it? So I'll leave it to that. Here, again, I'm going to say it is not all gloom and doom. There are some good stuff that we can show. For example, when when an airline abandons their passengers with no instruction of what's going on, and then staff picked race and passengers also picked race. All of this happened in Lagos. Then we can go to flights got cancelled or postponed, and then the staff at the counters won't really give any straight answers. And as people are beginning to rough handle them, some of them had to pick race from the counter, and the passengers pursue them. Where do they go? Where do you think they go? I don't know. Anyway, here is Enugu, where the praying mantis. What is his name again? Something Umba. Sorry, Umba. Peter. The praying mantis. Is the guy who knelt down and prayed and there was begging the Enugu people, please vote me, please. I promised that I would never, the kind of, right? He is also a certificate forger, okay, like Tifnumbu, who also forged his own educational certificate, okay, not educational certificate, NYSC certificates. He did not go and serve anywhere, but he got a certificate. And then when he was caught for that perjury, that you submitted a fake forged NYSC passing out certificate, right? He decided to hire a lawyer or hire lawyers, senior advocate of New Sans in Nigeria, Sans, to defend him. And guess what? His lawyers went to Nigeria court, tribunal, and they asked the court to stop the NYSC from coming to court to come and testify and verify if the certificates purportedly issued by them was from them. And the Nigerian court granted that order. You have a certificate from me, Mayegun College of Temple. It doesn't make sense, but just manage it, okay? Manages, sorry, Mayegun's College Temple or Temple College. And this certificate is now issued to the Director's Court on this day, January 1, 2020. That's your qualification, that you indeed passed through the Mayegun College Temple or Temple College. And then you presented it somewhere, and I'm like, no, Director Talonjebe, Who is that? Say, director's court. When the director, can you surname director? Can you first name court? Or court direct? No, we never have that record here. I say, can you please come to court? To come and tell the court that this certificate that director's court is parading is fake. He never attended your temple. Yes, I can come. And then the following day, another court says, don't dare it. Well, stay away. You issued it. Whether you issued it or not, it doesn't matter. He has submitted it and he said you issued it. So you issued it, no. That's what happened. NYSC in Nigeria is like the National Youth Service Corps. Okay, 1 year, mandatory 1 year National Youth Service after graduation. So you go and serve, they pay you allowance and all of that stuff. Okay, then they issue you a participatory certificate to say you indeed. And if you don't participate in their national NYSC, you cannot run for public office. Yeah, you can't. That's their law. But there is exemption. You can give an exemption and say, oh, when you graduated, you are over 30. So you are exempted. You don't have to participate. Or you have disability, or this, that, and all that. So you'll be exempted. But apart from that, nothing do you. You go forge certificate, you go jail. In my dream. Because Peter Umba forged these certificates. Then used the court to force the NYSC never to testify, ever. The NYSC said, we did not issue the certificate, but we are sorry. We can't go to courts because the court says we cannot say we didn't issue it. Court says we issued it. That's it. But we didn't. Did you? No, we didn't. But the court says it's original. But it is not. No, it is not. Okay. Now that same Peter Umba, he's not doing badly, as I've been told. When it comes to water, they said the Enugu state in eastern Nigeria is one of the states with, more access to water for the residents. Like it's actually really like a really big thing. And I've seen some of them, indeed. And they said he's also kind of doing his best when it comes to road construction. I'm like, okay. I mean, if I see their horrible side, no matter how little, I think I can show you their other side too. Because now people go use this road, and not just Peter Umba, right? And yeah, we saw this in Enugu. I know some of you will just be like, my ego. I'm on the fall and do. Now 50-yard road, they show us and said, no, I know. Okay. Okay, loan sunny down. All right. That is how far the camera covered. All right. And indeed, he's been kind of like really praised. I don't know about us outside Enugu, other areas, but from what I have actually really gathered, when it comes to water, he has actually invested more. They've like laid pipes, right, to extend access to water. And to me, water is life. So yeah, it is something that is worthy of sharing. I wish I brought that water video. If all of you be like, my don't worry, my you know. You bring us, okay, I'll leave that. Let's go to food. So some people who said that when the northern Nigeria, or let me say when the Miyetti threatened to stop the food from, that they will stop the food from being transported to the southern part of Nigeria because of the Fulani terrorism's ban on open grazing because of the Fulani terrorism, right? Then others said that if not for the tomato, if not for, all your tomatoes, all your peppers, they bring them from the north. The southern Nigeria cannot really grow pepper in large quantity. Right? The southern part of Nigeria can grow just anything. And if you let the farmers be on the farm, they will grow everything. Here is a farmer in the eastern part of Nigeria who just harvested this tomato farm in baskets. So I think one basket should be around 100,000, 80,000, isn't it?
Yeah, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 baskets. Government, Niranyaka, Anye Bacha Farmer, Makachuku, Anje tomatoes, Gajere like Jos, Anje Ranere tomato like Jos, Berenda Osa, Anye Kaha tomato, Enyaka Buka Genesis, Ka government push to Anyaka, Oga Hiolabia State, Lutu Amaja.
I won't know. I'm a Belan man. Yes, this is just a beginning. And we still have a long way to go. If we can be sponsored by those who love good things, honestly, we have started and we are going to merit so many things on this.
Yes, you. Yes, you.
Like these guys, they have like over 20 baskets of that size that they harvested. So the problem is going to be storage. And yeah, thank you very much, Jare. That is in Abia State. Somebody said it is Alayi or Alayi in Abia. So part of the problem facing the Nigerian farmers before the advent of these terrorists killing them and destroying their farms, the major problem of farmers in Nigeria is storage. Most of their farm produce are lost are wasted, so to say, because they couldn't have a proper storage for them. So if the Nigerian criminal politicians were supposed to be human beings, not only that they will stop this terrorism that is flowing and flowing to the southern part of Nigeria, they will protect the farmers. People can actually farm and grow food in large quantities if they receive the right support. The right support. But unfortunately, right, people just have to do the little they can, right? And just leave the rest. Because this is the least you can get. Whenever the government says they want to invest in agriculture, right, it is just another money gulping scheme that you will only see the money and you will never see anything else. No result. But yeah, that's something very impressive. And I'm quite proud of them too. And I'm glad that they made the video to share with us as well. The video shows that the eastern part of Nigeria, like other southern part of Nigeria, we would have been so prosperous if Nigeria never happened to us. Put it that way. I mean, it was, right? But imagine a situation whereby you don't have to deal with these terrorists with their guns and the terrorists in their agbada breathing down our neck, threatening us and intimidating us, blackmailing us and gaslighting us because we are part of Nigeria. And then we just have to manage to survive within that contraption. Just imagine that for a sec. I'm going to say thank you so much, everyone, for your time with me this evening. I am going to see you some other time. See, I am trying to kind of go do some, cookings. And because of that, I'm going to finish early tonight. So thanks so much for spending your evening with me, your afternoon and your evening. I'm going to see you again another time. But if you have to live as you are living right now, please don't live without your own offering. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Mayegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Mayegun Diary, Diary political.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Presido bá rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá ti ń gba rìbá.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin ti ń rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o àyè.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súra kì Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀ kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀ ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súra kì Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù bọ́tà ń lérí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹ̀rùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà àìsíwọ̀lú ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì o ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súra kì Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súra kì ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.